When it comes to the cleanest air and water, New Delhi is without a doubt at the bottom of the list.
Hundreds of devotees are taking a dip in a river covered in thick foam.
For most of the year, river water is covered in toxic foam, and the concentration of fine particles in the air is 23 times higher than the safe limit. Opened in 1977, it was officially declared unfit for waste disposal in 2001. But Dandara is still operating, receiving thousands of tons of garbage every day. Naturally, this impacts nearby residents who are forced to breathe clouds of smoke and toxic fumes. The waste also pollutes the soil and groundwater. The lead concentration is 10 times the legal limit. Hanoi is the capital of never-ending traffic jams. The gridlock is relentless. The average traffic speed sometimes drops to just 10 kilometers per hour, and crossing the city can take half a day. The reason is simple. The population is growing faster than new roads can be built, cars are cheaper than ever, and public transportation is inefficient. Still, the government has plans to fix the public transport system and even ban motorbikes by 2030. On the outskirts of Cairo, Egypt, lies what's known as the Garbage City. The issue is that the capital had no efficient waste management system, so residents of the Mashiat Nazir district began handling the trash themselves.
Oh, Doggo, easy, easy, easy. I just want to go. Hello. No, I just go here. Okay.
For a fee, they haul garbage on carts to their homes, where they sort it.
So these guys are not wearing any protection.
In 1969, the local government ordered that all garbage collectors be moved to one area.
I feel sad. There's a goat on a trash pile over there. Do you spot the goat?
The living conditions are horrific. The air is thick with smoke from burning plastic, the streets are buried in waste, and the water is contaminated with chemicals.
Anand, do you guys have pigs back here?
We don't have any pigs, you can see.
Gunfire and looting. Even a trip to the store is considered an act of courage. With the government unable to maintain control in the area, the infrastructure is lacking. And residents don't have reliable access to clean water or sewage systems. Amsterdam has an excellent cycling infrastructure, but there are almost as many bikes in the city's canals as there are on its streets. Over 15,000 bikes are pulled from the canals every year. Every day, a special crew dives into the water with a giant mechanical claw. Occasionally, they even haul out refrigerators or cars, about 50 of them a year. The Fenetar neighborhood is the largest Roma ghetto in Bucharest. Tens of thousands of families live here in subhuman conditions. Filth, poor sanitation, high crime rates, and total marginalization. Most residents are involved in crime from a very young age. They have no access to health care, children don't go to school, and the police rarely show up. Housing prices in New York are among the highest in the world, forcing apartment seekers to accept whatever they can find. This micro apartment is one of those options. In 24 square meters, you'll find everything you need to live, but you can forget about having guests over. Some see this as a home of the future, while others see it as a sign of deepening social inequality. The Burj Al Babas residential complex in Turkey is a textbook case of grand plans gone wrong. Built in a picturesque area, this vast development consists of hundreds of half-finished miniature castles, straight out of a fairy tale. The project was designed as a luxury resort for millionaires from the Middle East, and each castle was priced at $500,000. But luck turned on the investors. A sharp drop in oil prices cut into the income of potential buyers, and the financial crisis that followed caused the Turkish currency to crash. The company behind the project went bankrupt, leaving the construction unfinished. In the end, the castle stood empty and lifeless. China's urban villages are remnants of old rural settlements tucked between modern skyscrapers. They are mainly inhabited by migrant workers living in poverty and poor conditions. The streets are narrow, the apartment buildings are run down, and lighting is minimal. There are also constant problems with water supply, electricity, and sewage. These villages emerged during China's rapid urbanization, when state institutions failed to provide adequate housing for people moving in from the countryside. Petare is a massive slum in Caracas, Venezuela, home to around 30,000 people. Residents face unsanitary conditions and crime on a daily basis. At first glance, the idea of tourist tours through this area might seem absurd, but they provide income for locals.
No, me lo vendieron, es una coraspirina me vendieron. Tuvimos que frenarla, yo tuve que meterla. Bueno, era por cualquier cosa.
Petare emerged as a result of an economic crisis that led to a sharp divide in society. The wealthy neighborhoods of Caracas are just meters away from the rundown plywood structures of the slums. The Shibuya crossing in Tokyo is famous for its incredible pedestrian congestion. Opened in 1973, it allows several thousand people to cross the street at the same time. Viewed from above, it looks like a human ant colony. It has become a true attraction for both tourists and locals, and it often appears in films and TV shows. Residents of these houses in Naples live with constant noise, dirt, and an ever-present sense of danger. They endure car horns 24/7, the smell of exhaust fumes, and the vibrations from the massive viaduct structure overhead. Accidents happen regularly. Brackets break, cracks appear, and rainwater leaks into the buildings, damaging facades and seeping into apartments. For most residents, moving out isn't an option. Alternatives to living under the bridge are either too expensive or hard to come by. In 2023, piles of rotting garbage filled the streets of London. Sanitation workers went on strike after management rejected a proposed pay raise. Business owners were forced to dispose of trash themselves, spending large amounts of money in the process. Since no effective measures are being taken, New Delhi remains one of the most polluted cities on Earth.
Millions of people are struggling while the government tries to find a solution.
The chief ministers of Punjab and Delhi say they're doing all they can to tackle pollution, but are calling on federal and state governments to work together.
Lagos, Nigeria is known for two things that leave a strong impression. First, the traffic. With a population of 22 million, the city is massively overcrowded. Every day, over 8 million people commute in 5 million vehicles, all trying to squeeze through a tiny road network. On average, residents spend 1,560 hours a year stuck in traffic. Second, not far from the city lies Makoko, also known as the Venice of Africa. It's essentially a slum right in the Atlantic Ocean. Once a quiet fishing village, it's now home to about 200,000 people. Life here is cheap. There's no need to pay for land, and you can survive by fishing. Due to rising rents and increasing immigration, the housing crisis in the US is at an all-time high. In nowhere is that more obvious than in Skid Row, a neighborhood in downtown Los Angeles. More than 4,000 homeless people live here permanently. Since the 1930s, it has had the highest concentration of homeless individuals in the world. The area spans 50 city blocks, with sidewalks completely covered by tents. Even the police don't come here unless they're called. Out in the desert near Dubai lies a supercar graveyard, baking in 40 degrees Celsius heat. The complex has over 2,000 units and houses 10,000 people. Entire families live in tiny flats, and demolition or reconstruction is out of the question. Because of the building's complex structure, even basic repairs like fixing communication cables are extremely difficult. The Tokyo subway transports 8.7 million people every day. Naturally, this level of congestion is very noticeable inside the train cars. In some places, people would simply wait for the next train, but punctual Japanese passengers get on no matter what. That's why there are special employees here called a shiya. Their job is to push passengers inside so the doors can close on time and the train can depart without delay. Even Tokyo's subway doesn't compare to the trains in Bangladesh. The country's rail system is so overcrowded that people use every inch of space hanging from edges, cleaning the windows, and even sitting on the roof. Lahore, Pakistan is officially recognized as the dirtiest city on the planet. Residents breathe toxic air with a pollution index of 348, which is 3 times above the maximum allowable levels. The main culprits are unregulated industrial activity and the widespread use of outdated vehicles. The Dandara landfill near Nairobi, Kenya, has triggered a humanitarian crisis. You'll find every luxury car brand imaginable, but all of them are buried under thick layers of dust. Some were abandoned by bankrupt entrepreneurs who fled the country. Others were simply left behind by rich owners who didn't bother selling them. These cars are auctioned off for next to nothing, and some even end up being used as police vehicles. Mumbai can confidently be called a city of contrasts. Right next to the skyscrapers lie the world's largest slums, the Dharavi district. The population density here exceeds 277,000 people per square kilometer, making Dharavi one of the most densely populated areas in the world. Despite the massive number of residents, there's no real infrastructure. Even access to drinking water is limited. But at least the younger generation is getting a decent education, and with it, a ticket out of Dharavi. The Gazipur landfill near New Delhi, India's capital, is known as the Mount Everest of trash. It stands 72 meters high. About 2,000 tons of garbage are dumped here every day, as nearly 8 million people live nearby and suffer from the unbearable smell. Opened in 1984, the landfill reached its capacity in 2002, but local authorities continue to dump waste here. The Monster Building in Hong Kong is a popular attraction and a filming location for many movies. But its media fame has an ugly side. This building is a clear example of Hong Kong's housing crisis, where residents are crammed into microscopic living spaces. This building in Kudryava, Russia, is an urban nightmare. It's a massive structure with 35 entrances and 3,708 apartments. Inside the neighborhood, there are over 4,000 cars and clearly not enough room for them. Almost all available space is taken up by parking, leaving only a few playgrounds. Sunlight only reaches the area for a short time each day, giving it a gloomy feel. It originally had a fenced perimeter, but keeping the gates closed turned out to be pointless because every 10 seconds, someone is driving in or out anyway. The Vertical Forest in Milan is a residential complex made up of two towers, 110 and 76 meters high. As you might guess, they're covered in greenery, 900 trees, 5,000 shrubs, and 11,000 herbaceous plants. The total planted area spans 4 hectares. Thanks to this green cover, the complex improves the city's ecology, purifies the air, regulates temperature, and boosts the area's biodiversity. The State Tower is a unique skyscraper in Bangkok, standing 247 meters tall. It includes apartments, offices, shops, stores, and even 2 5-star hotels. La Paz is the de facto capital of Bolivia. Located 3,600 meters above sea level, it's the highest capital city in the world. Its outskirts are a chaotic sprawl of homemade buildings built from cheap bricks and sheet metal. Despite economic growth, The city's infrastructure remains weak, with ongoing problems in transportation and access to clean water. Urban chaos is made worse by poor planning and a lack of safety. Narrow alleys and disorganized neighborhoods make it hard to get around, and constant traffic jams complicate daily life. The Lizaba station in Chongqing is a unique architectural project where a monorail passes straight through a residential building. It was built together with the apartment complex to minimize noise and vibration for the residents. Not everyone would want to live there, but that hasn't stopped the station from becoming a popular tourist attraction. In the Chinese city of Zhuzhou, an entire block of luxury cottages stands on the roof of a shopping mall. These houses have sparked heated debates for decades. Local authorities insist the structures are illegal, while city residents are convinced that they violate building codes. Either way, the mysterious rooftop villas have become a well-known local landmark, especially online, where they continue to fuel intense discussions. The idea of smart consumption in China turned out to be a complete failure. In 2015, bike rental services became popular as a way to ease urban traffic congestion. But within just a few years, many of these companies went bankrupt as supply far outpaced demand. And with so many bikes on the streets, people often left them in inappropriate places. That's why bicycle graveyards have started to appear near large cities, with many of the bikes still in perfectly good condition. During holidays, China's roads turn into a nightmare. A trip that normally takes an hour and a half can drag on for 6 hours. The main problem is a lack of alternative routes and the explosive growth of the country's vehicle fleet. Even the largest toll station on China's expressway system is powerless in the face of such a massive traffic crisis. Around 9 million people depend on the waters of Indonesia's Citarum River, but decades of industrial pollution have turned it into a toxic wasteland. The river is filled with heavy metals and bacteria, and locals are forced to drink this contaminated water. The main source of pollution is the 2,000 factories along the riverbanks that dump their waste straight into the water. The government has launched a $500 million cleanup program that includes a ban on dumping and efforts at reforestation. However, hidden pipelines and corruption continue to stall progress. Oficina in Rio de Janeiro was once a symbol of Brazil's success, inspiring designers and filmmakers. But now, it looks more like a war zone where criminal gangs fight for control. More than 200,000 people live in these buildings and face daily